This episode is presented by Anchor Branding.
Hey, listener. Before we get into the episode, we want to point out that this movie is rated R for strong language, including some sexual references. We've linked the Parent's Guide in the show notes that we would encourage you to take a look at before deciding whether or not to watch. We always encourage you to follow your convictions and guidance from the Holy Spirit. Okay, let's get into the episode.
Got any friends, Andy?
No.
Oh, why's that?
I don't know. I just never really saw the use.
Oh, who are you going to play with otherwise? Lennon and McCartney, they were school buddies, am I right?
Charlie Parker didn't know anybody until Joe Jonas threw a symbol at his head.
So that's your idea of success, huh?
I think being the greatest musician of the 20th century is anybody's idea of success.
Dying broke and drunk and full of heroin at the age of 34 is not exactly my idea of success.
I'd rather die drunk, broke at 34 and have people at a dinner table talk about me than live to be rich and sober at 90 and nobody remember who I was.
Ah, but your friends will remember you. That's the point.
None of us were friends with Charlie Parker. That's the point.
Travis and Dustin, they have plenty of friends and plenty of purpose.
I'm sure they'll make great school board presidents someday.
Oh, that's what this is all about? You think you're better than us?
Catch on quick, new model you in?
Feels like, at least in my eyes, he kind of said what he had to say with these two movies. And then he's kind of, it's a little aimless, it feels.
I would have hoped, going from this movie to La La Land, this movie about jazz that includes him and his dad going to movies.
Mm-hmm.
La La Land,
It's
primarily about movies and then also about jazz. I would have preferred that he just keep those two tropes in all
forever.
of his movies.
Yeah.
In more subtle ways or more obvious ways.
But I love them. I mean, these two movies, I talked about it with last week with La La Land, but La La Land and Whiplash are, having rewatched both of them recently, more than ever in my eyes, they're two sides of the same coin. They're almost like a remake of the same, it's the same ideas just being reshifted around in each movie. This movie is the miserable version of how you become great. You grind and you put your nose down and you forget about everything else. You have no friends and you're miserable. And then at the end, you get the big solo moment.
Yeah.
La La Land this is the romance of chasing your dream. This is what it feels like through Andrew's eyes in this movie almost. And the relationship in that movie is just reflective of that. It's not the point of the movie. The whole point is, how do you chase your dreams? How do you become great at the thing that you're going after? Mm-hmm. And then also, like you said, jazz and movies are essential to both those.
This is the first time I believe that we have ever done two movies from a director in one season.
Probably.
And it's for sure the first time then on top of that we're doing
double feature
back to back of the same director.
Yeah. And
his first two films.
That's true.
We're setting a lot of records here.
We're going, maybe we should have done it the other direction. We're going his second movie than his first. But yeah, well, it's because of what he has to say.
Yeah.
And we are in the Tim Chalamet In the Pursuit of Greatness series. And we're talking about a bunch of different movies that have essentially the same idea, but Chazelle maybe gives us our best two.
Yeah.
I think maybe the best two movies that have something to say on this topic.
I mean, these are two movies about people who are locked in on becoming great and achieving their dreams.
Yeah. All right. You want to hit some segments?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. This is a segment that we are now going to call Stack Eating Shawarma. Do you understand the reference on that?
I understand the eating shawarma. Why stack?
Stack is a Sinners reference. It's the spoilers for Sinners. It's the Michael B. Jordan that makes it to the post-credit scene. And have you watched the post-credit scene, yeah?
I did.
Probably the best post-credit scene of all time.
Really?
I think so.
I mean, it was pretty good. I have lots of thoughts on Sinners we need to talk about, but
we do. So Stack Eating Shawarma.
That makes sense. I like it. I'm glad we're doing this because...
Oh, and the segment is, what would the post-credit scene be for this movie?
Yeah. I'm glad we're doing this segment because I think before we fully dive into the segment, we need to talk about the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of had a slightly different interpretation of the ending the first time I watched it. The ending is tragic in that the villain, the antagonist's method worked.
I have some thoughts to debunk this, but go ahead.
And Andrew now became the Charlie Parker that Fletcher was always going after.
Mm-hmm.
And in that final moment, they are, they're in sync with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Fletcher starts feeling Andrew's vibe, smiling, nodding along. Then he starts to
smiles with those eyes,
instruct him to like bring it down. Okay, now bring it back up. And Andrew follows, kind of showing Andrew's not going to stop listening to this guy.
Okay.
That after this moment, they're going to continue. He's going to do whatever he says. He is now going to find massive success because he had this great solo, very mimicking Charlie Parker. And the thing that did it for me is there's a shot where he's doing the solo and he's killing it. And it cuts to Andrew's dad peeking through. And the way that they frame it is Andrew's dad's face, center screen, but he is sort of peeking behind a cracked door, or maybe it's a curtain.
It's a curtain, yeah.
He's the voice of reason almost to Andrew. And in my mind, that is showing he is now on the outside looking in. He does not have Andrew's ear anymore.
Okay.
And Andrew's going to go on to do exactly what, he said Charlie Parker did, where he's going to find success, die full of heroin, broke at 34. And Andrew's going to, do what he set out to do. Fletcher did what he set out to do. The dad is the only one who fails in his pursuit of keeping his son alive and happy.
This is why movies rock. I have the opposite interpretation. And I choose the opposite interpretation partially because I prefer it and partially because I think that it makes more sense to the narrative.
Okay.
Here's why. So Fletcher says in their scene at the bar, he says, "I never had a Charlie Parker."
Mm-hmm.
It's while they're talking about his method.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially the movie's admission that this method doesn't totally work.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that you just torture people and are psychologically abusive, and if you get people to just keep going, burn themselves out or up, then they're going to succeed. That idea doesn't actually work. He says, I've never had success with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Andrew says to Fletcher, he's like, but what if someone was to get discouraged? Like, do you think that there's a line that someone could get discouraged?
Mm-hmm.
Fletcher says no. Essentially, it's impossible for someone with the potential for greatness to be discouraged.
Yeah.
That's where he's wrong. Right. Andrew, in his original date with the girl, I don't even remember her name, they're talking about how they're kind of weird. They miss their families. They're really close with their families.
Mm-hmm.
He still goes to the movies with his dad every week. Right.
Right.
All that happens. So in the final JBC production,
mm-hmm.
Fletcher's trying to pull one over on Andrew. He does it. He does the dumb thing where he has extra drums at the end. And then the movie could choose at that moment to, you know what? Screw you, Fletcher. I'm going to just go into my own solo right here. But it takes the moment to pause. He has to walk off stage and his dad has to hug him. Okay. So this is the essential moment of he has to be reassured that his dad is waiting for him once he's done, because otherwise he has no safety net. Right. So he is empowered and enabled to go on and do what he's been being pushed to do this whole time, because of the encouragement and the love and the acceptance that he has from his dad. And he's able to go out, and it doesn't ultimately matter for who he is because he still has that waiting for him. So they take the pause, he goes backstage, and then dad is watching on, peeking through the curtain of like in amazement of, oh, wow, that's what's happening over there. So that's my interpretation. So,
which I like better personally, because it makes me sad the other way. I think that moment, again, is the opposite. I think he goes to his dad. Fletcher has subtly, and as we kind of see at the dinner scene, which is just brutal to watch,
yeah,
has kind of made dad the example of settling for mediocrity, being, high school teacher. And so when he is hugged by his dad and his dad says, "Let's go home,"
mm-hmm.
it makes me think of like Go Big or Go Home. He's going, I don't want to go home and be like
mm-hmm.
dad. Like dad went home.
Yeah.
He didn't go big. He didn't shoot for the stars, and he's mediocre. I'm not going to go home. I'm already failed. Might as well go big.
Yep.
I'm going to turn around and walk back on stage.
Yeah.
Go big.
I disagree pretty strongly on that. I do think that is part of it, that he doesn't want to end up like Dad. But I do think that the whole point of the movie is you need both. Like, Fletcher is evil, yes, but he is essential to the process. Dad is also essential to the process.
Yeah. Nobody else is having their dad stack their pantry with gushers.
Yeah.
What a thing to say.
That was crazy.
What a line.
Okay, so stack eating shawarma. This leads in perfectly to what I'm gonna choose, because this movie, it ends at the climax, which is rare. There's no falling action at all.
Yeah, that is a real, like, uncommon, I feel like, way to end, but it also leaves a lot for interpretation, which leads to a discussion like we just had, where like you can now theorize the falling action yourself.
Right.
We're ending right at the peak.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to create what we think is the post-credit scene for this movie. It does kind of, the way you answer this question kind of hinges on your interpretation of the ending.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's why I wanted to talk about how we were vibing with the ending, because it very much informs how the post-credit scene is going to go.
Yeah. So here's mine. Credits have rolled. Shot of the clock in the classroom. Tink, tink, right at the spot at 9 o'clock or whatever, whenever he walks in every day. Everybody quiets down. In comes the fedora, gets tossed on the thing as Fletcher tees up that there's a special guest. It's kind of faded out. Maybe it's like through music or something. And second fedora, tink, hits on the coat rack as Miles Teller's Neiman is coming basically like 10 years later or whatever. He's now this renowned like legend in the jazz world, coming to teach the class. Teaches the class almost exactly like Fletcher in every way, except, so, you know, he's going to be tearing into people. We'll have some funny dialogue in there, different takedowns he could have. He does, after somebody does like a great solo, he comes up to him and he kind of smiles and he tells him, "Good job." And then that's the end of the movie. And so it's this recognition that, hey, you do need both. You need someone who's going to both push you and at the same time, that encouragement is able to go just as far and isn't actually this destructive force.
You need the balance.
Yeah. And that's good. That's what Andrew is able to learn through both of his kind of pseudo father figures in this movie.
I heard a psychologist talking about this kind of theory, and he was like, the previous generations had parents who just set super high expectations and gave like very little to no support on average. And then the next generation, kind of our generation, course corrected but over corrected, where they give tons of support,
no expectations,
and neither one really works out well. And you need, for, you know, in his words, for kind of the ideal parenting is to have high expectations with tons of support.
Yeah,
is what like children need as they're developing and growing to go out and be, you know, successful members of society.
Yep. I mean, Fletcher,
Mr. Neiman, and Fletcher.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, so I have a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene.
Okay,
because of my sad interpretation of the ending and how I don't like the tragic way I think this movie ends.
Why are you choosing to believe that?
Listen, I'm not going to put on rose-tinted glasses just because.
Just to love a fan.
Yeah, which I still love this film. So the way that I think, if you're going post-credit scene to, like, you know, kind of resolve how does this movie end? Movie ends, credits roll. The mid-credit scene is Andrew's sitting in a dark room, hands kind of shaking. He looks older. He looks very tired and worn out.
He looks older. He's had some bad plastic surgery. It's Miles Teller now.
We're seeing his hands a little shaky. He lines up a line of white powder.
Okay.
Little sniff.
This is out of your imagination.
Then we hear someone say, "Mr. Neiman, they're ready for you." He takes like a shot of whiskey. His hands kind of steady as he grabs the sticks. you see like he's not doing well. He's, old and he's headed the Charlie Parker route, but he goes out on a then massive stage right after that. And I don't know if you go like massive arena or you go more like Carnegie Hall type of like elegance, depending on the jazz world.
Yeah, like that's more jazz.
And then like as he's about to hit the drums, it cuts to black, so you don't hear it. So right after the credits end, my post-credit scene is you hear a drum being tapped slowly, and the camera's going down the hallway, kind of like where Fletcher found Neiman the first time.
What's your name?
Yeah, you hear the drums, but they're kind of offbeat and they're kind of out of sync, and they're being played rather timidly. Goes into the room. We see Neiman's dad trying to like play the drums. He's like tapping, and then he tries to like kind of do something a little special. And
this
like
is Paul Reiser is playing drums.
And then it's mirroring that scene, except it's Andrew walks in and sees his dad playing, and then his dad is kind of embarrassed, and then Andrew goes, "Why'd you stop playing?" And so dad like tries to do something really special, and he like fumbles, knocks over the cymbal, and drops his sticks, and then Andrew laughs and helps him pick him up.
That's very sweet. Can I throw at you where I thought, as you just started to describe that, you were going?
Yeah.
So in that scenario, in the final credit scene, is he teaching then at Schaefer or whatever?
No, I was picturing more like they were going to move his drums out of his tiny apartment. Now that he's successful, he's moving into a bigger place, and it was like set in his apartment or something.
Oh, okay. This isn't like super duper time jump. This is like.
Sorry, I should have clarified. My mid-credit scene is like in the future, he's older. My post-credit scene is like a flashback to like right after the end of the movie. Sorry, that's confusing.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
So it's still young Andrew. They just finished, shortly after the concert.
What I thought you were going to say is this is like, in his late 30s or 40s or something now, and he's had his hardship, but as he's like packing up to leave from teaching or from a concert or something, he walks in. His dad is trying to teach his little boy how to play drums.
Oh, no, that'd be sweet.
And that's the moment that would like snap him out of it and be like, what am I doing? This is
good.
This is what matters.
I like that.
Maybe we do that.
Yeah.
And then your bad ending could reconciled with
Whiplash 2.
Whiplash 2. Little Whiplash. Okay. Quick hitters. All right. Rabbit hole. Call out what content, music, podcast, influencer, any given character is super into.
That dad, Mr. Neiman, loves Dances with Wolves. He is all over Dances with Wolves.
Anything Costner. He's a huge Yellowstone fan now.
He, to me, strikes me as the guy who's like, he's into the Eagles.
Yes.
He probably listens to Crime Junkie podcast. I think he's a big Dave Ramsey guy.
I put Fletcher's favorite movie is 127 Hours. Miserable watch, but man, pushed to the edge of what he's willing to do to survive.
But see, I think he would hate James Franco.
Yeah, but he would like to watch him suffer.
I think Fletcher's a big Andy Elliott guy. You know who that is? He's that salesman that you see on social media. He's in tight shorts, and he's bald and jacked, and he just tells people, if I kidnapped your family, could you sell 40 cars? Why do I have to kidnap your family? You should be grinding.
Okay. That sounds like a guy Fletcher would like.
He loves Kobe.
You saying he loves Kobe as in Kobe Bryant?
Yeah.
Over MJ?
Yeah, Fletcher likes Kobe way more than MJ.
Why?
MJ's a hack in Fletcher's mind.
Why? He just likes doing the process.
He's the big star.
Oh.
He's getting to it. Kobe was just in the gym, 5 a.m.
No.
He's working.
Flip those. Okay. You got others? I only did one.
I think Fletcher...
You like this category.
Yeah, I do. I think Fletcher wouldn't admit it, but he was just starting to really get on board with Liver King when Liver King got outed for steroids.
He does look a little built. He looks a little nice.
He is.
Those black shirts.
Jacked a little bit. But he was like just starting to get into following a guy who just dedicated his life to something and was jacked, and then Liver King got outed as being a fraud, and Fletcher was out.
He's still got a ton of capsules just sitting there in his. He's got boxes. Recast the director. What director would you want at the helm of Whiplash? To me, it's clear, but I don't know. I don't know about you.
Say it on 3 and see if we're in the same one. 3, 2, 1. David Fincher.
Yeah, it's right. This is just a couple years coming off of Social Network. I think is probably the best comp to this movie in terms of the way it looks and the kind of sort of the themes.
Yeah. The appearance definitely played a part in like me thinking of who does this kind of thing. And then as you get into it and you think about Social Network and other things that he's done, you're like, okay, he could have taken these characters.
It needs to be a darker movie, and it needs to be like low-key a torture movie, but you don't want it to be so unwatchable. And he rides that line so perfectly of like Zodiac should be miserable to watch, but he knows how to draw you in, uses the score and the music in a perfect way.
Yeah.
I don't need to sell him. He's the perfect choice.
Yeah. He's who we want.
All right. Let's get into this thing. I am going to approach this part of the conversation assuming my ending.
Yeah.
You do you.
No, I think that's good to clarify. And part of the reason I wanted to bring up my interpretation of the ending, because it's open-ended, for us to kind of talk about what this movie is saying, you kind of need to pick a lane. And so we're going off of the assumption that, like, the assumption of the ending and the interpretation that you talked about.
Okay, cool. We're aligned then. All right. Listener, if you have not seen Whiplash in a while, here is a recap. Whiplash follows Andrew Neiman, an ambitious young jazz drummer at the Schaefer Conservatory who dreams of becoming one of the greats. He falls under the brutal instruction of Terence Fletcher, a perfectionist conductor who uses humiliation and psychological warfare to push his students beyond their limits. Andrew sacrifices relationships, health, and sanity in his obsessive pursuit of greatness, convinced that suffering is the price of excellence. As Fletcher's methods escalate, lines blur, leaving Andrew isolated, but more technically skilled than ever. The film culminates in a final performance where Andrew seizes control, transforming from victim to virtuoso in a blistering showdown that redefines his relationship with both music and Fletcher. So this is where we're headed here. This movie is honestly really clear in what it's trying to say. Whenever you desire to be great, there is a way to go that gets you there, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
And so there's honestly a lot more scripture on this than what I think we generally talk about. Whenever we talk about following Jesus, we typically talk about like morals, or we talk about, the fruits of the Spirit, things like that. And I think this could be categorized as one of the fruits of the Spirit, is this pursuit of excellence. But I think a lot of times it goes ignored. Yeah. So a lot of the biblical grounding for this conversation is going to come from the Proverbs. The word that they use is a sluggard. A sluggard is a lazy person. The big picture of this movie is that if you are diligent, if you work hard, then greatness is possible, right? Same deal applies to us. And I think we generally understand that. And a lot of us, all of us, I think, have this desire for greatness inside of us. I believe that that's something that God put there. And I think a lot of the time we focus on the do nots of Christianity, and we ignore that God has, as people who are image bearers of God, we have this natural drive to go do good in the world, to go bring about God's kingdom in the world. Now that can be tainted into a way to make ourselves great. Think about like the Tower of Babel. They wanted to be great in the sight of all people, but that drive comes from a place of a desire to live out our creation mandate of bringing order to chaos within the world.
Truth is, I don't think people understood what it was I was doing at Schaefer. I wasn't there to conduct. Any fucking moron can wave his arms and keep people in tempo. I was there to push people beyond what's expected of them. I believe that is an absolute necessity. Otherwise, we're depriving the world of the next Louis Armstrong, the next Charlie Parker.
If you're newer to the podcast, what we don't ever want to do is take a movie and look at a character and be like, here's why this character is in sin. And I think with Fletcher, it's really easy to do that because he's one of the most evil characters I think that we've ever seen. But even though we're talking about his process and the way that he's trying to develop Andrew, we're not necessarily talking about his methods as being right or wrong. Obviously, we think that he's a bad guy, and we think the things that he's doing and the lack of kindness is really wrong.
Sure.
But we want to kind of put that to the side and just examine what's this movie actually trying to say. So Fletcher, within Fletcher's kind of process, he is putting them through this because he wants the outcome. I think big picture, what we want to take from that is like, there has to be some motivating factor. I think we as a world, you kind of hit on this earlier, have decided that only positive reinforcement is like the way that people will respond in any kind of way. I think the reality is it's both, right? Hebrews 12:11 is a key verse here for us. It says, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it.
The way that the Bible describes how God parents us as his children, you have to keep in mind at all times is how much God loves us. He disciplines those that he loves. You know, like we mentioned earlier, Fletcher is kind of the example of the drive and the pursuit, while Andrew's dad, Mr. Neiman, is the example of constant love and reassurance. And so he has the confidence of my dad is always in my corner and loves me. But I think if just kind of no expectations, just that love from dad, Andrew's probably not going out and doing this amazing solo and going on to a great jazz career.
I like actually not almost 100% he's not. Like if he just basks in his dad's like acceptance all day and never turns around and does anything, then he's not going to be one of the greats like he dreams about. You know, Proverbs 24 says, sluggards do not plow in season, so at harvest time they look but find nothing. It's this what's called the law of the harvest. So whatever you put in, that is what you can expect to get out.
Parents musicians?
No.
What do they do?
My dad's a writer.
Oh, what's he written?
I guess he's more of a teacher, really.
Oh, college.
Pennington High School.
What about your mother? What does she do?
I don't know. She left when I was a baby.
So no musicians in the family. Well, you just gotta listen to the greats then. Buddy Rich, Joe Jones. You know, Charlie Parker became Bird because Jones threw a cymbal at his head. See what I'm saying? Listen, the key is to just relax. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about what the other guys are thinking. You're here for a reason.
I think that scene can get tainted on the rewatch because we know he's going to use the mom leaving stuff against him. But it's this it's this moment the only moment we really see of, hey, he actually wants this kid to make it, you know, but then he enters into the process, right, where he can't be told good job or else that's detrimental within Fletcher's mentality, right?
Fletcher actually does believe Andrew's there for a reason. He has a purpose. He actually does need for him to not care what anyone else thinks. He needs for him to like lock in and recognize his goal, his pursuit of greatness for being there if he's going to be successful. So it seems like at first it seems like he's just, you know, deceiving him, but there's actually some real truth there where he's like, you know, he does think he has a purpose there.
Fletcher tells the story over and over again about Joe Jones throwing the cymbal at Charlie Parker's head and he becomes one of the greats. It's this analogy for what happens in the movie. and he actually throws things a couple times at his head, but it's
namely a chair.
Yeah, it's in the very first studio session whenever he throws the chair at his head, whenever he gives the whole rushing or dragging speech.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it, tirade. It's really, really interesting that he doesn't do that until he feels like he's good enough. You know what I mean? Like, he listens, and his first reaction is, "Hey, we got Buddy Rich here." He's like, "Let's hear some fills. Wow, like check this kid out."
5, 6, 7. Rushing. 5, 6, and dragging. 5, 6, Why do you suppose I just hurled a chair at your head, Neiman?
I don't know.
Sure you do.
The tempo?
Were you rushing or were you dragging?
I don't know.
Start counting.
5, 6, 7.
In 4! Look at me!
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
Now, was I rushing or was I dragging?
I don't know.
Count again.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Rushing or dragging?
Rushing.
So you do know the difference!
Ends the speech by saying, "Neiman, you need to practice harder." That's the whole heart of what he's trying to get at. You need to practice. And so this is the message of the movie: is practice gets you where you want to go. Again, Fletcher, as messed up as he is in his methods, he has one goal: to get these kids to practice as hard as they can, because that's how they exceed their limits. That's how they go beyond what people are expected of them, is if they practice.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's a little bit lost. We're not willing to see time make a difference. If something doesn't work right away, if it doesn't change something right away, we don't actually see the ways that little things change us over time.
Yeah.
And I think that applies across all things. It applies to the spiritual disciplines. It applies in practicing in any craft.
Yeah.
Right. Over time, you get better. You start and you suck, and then over time you figure it out. But I think we can tend to think, well, if this doesn't come naturally to me, if I don't just get it right away, then it's not for me. I'm not good at this. But the reality is, it's like you put in the time, 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
And that's how you become one of the greats. Like, becoming one of the greats, the only thing that stands between you and that is putting in time.
Yeah.
And so,
and you need correction. The phrase, practice makes perfect, I've heard is better described as practice makes patterns. Where if Andrew doesn't realize he's rushing or he's dragging, and he just continues to practice in a room by himself,
forever be a rusher.
He's gonna forever be a rusher. He's gonna get really, really good at what he practices, and needing the correction of someone to tell you, hey, you are not doing it right. Proverbs 12 says, whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is stupid.
Yeah.
We have to, take the pill of humility and realize, like, we do need somebody else to point out when we are wrong. Be that the Holy Spirit, be that fellow believers. The Lord does need to correct and discipline. And the scripture tells us that the Lord disciplines those he loves because he has better for us.
Yeah. I think about Andrew's existence versus Nicole, the girlfriend. And he's like, what do you do? Like, what is the thing that you do? And she's like, I go to whatever school.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you study? She's like, I don't know yet. And so she says it whenever they're breaking up, but it's like, because she has no trajectory in life. And it's kind of presented as this thing that's like, that's okay, like, for her, but it's like, she is going to end up having a mediocre life, and maybe that's okay for her, but it's like Andrew refuses to accept that as his path, you know, because he has a direction. All of this becomes possible. He knows where to put the time in, where to seek the correction. Like, otherwise we're just aimless and we don't really know, because she's just kind of waiting for the thing that she's passionate about, right?
Well, I don't think that we should be together. And I've thought about it a lot, and this is what's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to keep pursuing what I'm pursuing. And because I'm doing that, it's going to take up more and more of my time, and I'm not going to be able to spend as much time with you. And even when I do spend time with you, I'm going to be thinking about drumming. And I'm going to be thinking about jazz music and my charts and all that. And because of that, you're going to start to resent me. And you're going to tell me to ease up on the drumming, spend more time with you because you're not feeling important. And I'm not going to be able to do that. And really, I'm just going to start to resent you for even asking me to stop drumming. And we're just going to start to hate each other. And it's going to be ugly. And so for those reasons, I'd rather just, break it off clean. Because I want to be great.
And you're not.
I want to be one of the greats.
There's something there for us. We need to know the direction that we're headed.
Yeah.
Our bullseye is on godliness.
Yeah.
The way that we spend time with Jesus, the way that we confess sin and are ruthless in our pursuit of holiness. Like, I think of Philippians 3:13 and 14 says, "Brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it, but one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus." Like, our main striving and our main goal is to be closer and look more like Jesus through the spiritual disciplines. Right. And even that word, like striving, kind of pings as like we don't want to be striving because striving is bad. Striving isn't bad. What is bad is whenever we put our worth in that, in our status, in our spiritual life, or in our career, or in our trying to be the best jazz drummer in the history of the world, But just like Andrew, he's able to do these things because of his love from his dad. Same for us. Like, we are loved by God before anything else. Yeah. That's the essential thing. We have to get that, that God loves us. And because we have that relationship, then we are enabled to go on and do these great things because we have that as our safety, right? Not the other way around. Not we need to strive and work and grind so that we can be great in God's eyes. Like, he sees Jesus when he sees us because of the gospel, right? But I think a lot of us can hear that and it's like, okay, then I can just chill, or I should just chill. Yeah. But it's like, that is not ultimately a fulfilling life. Like, God wants you to Ephesians 2:10, walk in the good works that he has laid out for us, and he wants us to do that excellently. And again, we represent God. Like, we as believers are the representatives of Jesus in this world. And so we want to be as awesome as possible. I think it's Titus 2:10 that talks about that we want to work hard so that we can make the teachings of Jesus attractive, so that other people would see how great we are at stuff. And people are like, wow, check that out. Those Christians, they've got something figured out. You know what I mean?
That right there, I think is a key thing in all of this, in any of our episodes we're doing on the Pursuit of Greatness series, is everything that he teaches us to do is for our good, because he loves us, so that it would point to his glory. And so understanding that, for your life, whether you are pursuing becoming a jazz drummer, or you're an insurance salesman, or whatever, we're not talking about the pursuit of fame and fortune. It is our pursuit of greatness is to have a unified singular goal in mind of our life, and our life is to bring glory to God. So exactly what you were saying of then whatever career path you're in, whatever hobbies you do, the Bible tells us to do everything to the glory of God. And that is to do it excellently, so that when people see it, like you just said, they see, oh, Jesus, God is more important to that person's life than anything else. That person is willing to work hard. That person is willing to sacrifice things. That person is willing to do whatever it takes for God because they love God. And we will be right back.
Hey, listener, we just want to take a pause and say thank you for listening. We love getting to do this podcast, and it's listeners like you that make it possible for us. If you're not following us wherever you get your podcasts, what are you waiting for? Go ahead, do it. That way you can stay in the loop every time a new episode drops. If you know anybody who would love this episode or any of the other movies we've covered, don't be afraid to go ahead and share it with them. That would help us out so much, and we would really appreciate it. Thank you so much again for listening.
All right, listener, let's talk branding. Because if you want your brand to actually stand out, you need Anchor Branding Company. These guys are the pros at turning your logo into something people actually want to wear, want to use, or show off. From premium custom apparel and branded merch to eye-catching office signage or more, they do it all. And if you're thinking, I want to get my company's gear out there, but I don't want to pack 1,000,000 boxes. Good news, they can handle all the kitting, fulfillment, and shipping for you. Do you need some new employee uniforms, a killer swag store, custom online shop that people can order from? Anchor Branding Co. makes everything happen. Head to anchorbranding.com to get started today, because if your brand is going to make some waves, you should probably have an anchor. And back to the show.
Proverbs 26:13, this is a riddle. He says, the sluggard says, there's a lion in the road, a fierce lion roaming the streets. It's a confusing verse. The sluggard, the lazy person, is saying there's a lion in the road. What does that mean? The lazy person is going to make any excuse not to go to work, to not go do the thing that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
For Andrew, it could be really easy for him to be like, I'm going to just go until my hands start to bleed.
Yeah.
Or,
my hands are bleeding. I can't play anymore.
Yeah. But there's that awesome shot of the ice water with the blood soaking down into it. He's not willing to stop. There is no excuse for him. There's no, the only thing for him is to move towards getting better, right? Fletcher is terrible. I'm gonna quit his class. He would have been justified to quit his class.
Yeah.
But the main aim of his life is to get better, and the best way for him to do that is to go through this process, right? Proverbs 26:14 similarly says, as a door turns on its hinges, so a sluggard turns on his bed. A door hinge moves a lot but doesn't go anywhere. And this idea that if we're never going to get up from bed, if we only want to just chill and relax, we're never going to go anywhere. We're never going to move anywhere great. And this is, honestly, we don't understand the tragedy that this is. It's like, ultimately what we're talking about is your life being wasted. Like, if you're not willing to do hard things for the sake of getting better at something, or at the very minimum to get better at knowing God, like that's the fundamental thing, right? Is we can practice and put in time and discipline towards being closer to Jesus, and beyond that, we can be enabled to go do great things in this world. But if we're not willing to get up from bed, if we're not willing to stop making excuses, that won't be us. Like, that'll be somebody else.
Yeah. Nobody gets up and is like, man, I really want to do something super uncomfortable naturally. Like, the work, the effort, all of it is going to be uncomfortable. Hebrews 12 says, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it.
Yep.
You talked about that, the hands bleeding scene. Andrew we have this physical representation of pain. He's working so hard, his hands are bleeding, and he keeps going. I'd be willing to bet a whole lot of money he's not having fun when he's doing that.
Yep.
Like, that is not, honestly, nothing about this movie seems fun.
Yeah.
He does not seem to be enjoying any of it.
Except for the Raisinets.
Except for the Raisinets. Going to the movies with your dad.
Yeah.
But at the end, in that solo, he is smiling and so is Fletcher,
Mm-hmm.
that all the work is paying off.
Yep.
It is not going to be pleasant at the time, but it's going to produce a harvest.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, it's going to turn out to something.
Yep. You're putting yourself through hardship whenever you're desiring to be great,
Yep.
right? It's this, there's no separating the two. It's
Mhm.
it's going to be painful if you want to grow.
Right.
Jesus talks in Matthew 7, he talks about two men who build houses, one's on the rock, one's on sand. So whenever hardship comes, where our foundation is matters. And so I think this plays out in this movie. Whenever he's going through the training montage, he's got the bloody hands, he's doing all that. His phone is ringing and he's not picking up. He's getting more and more distant from his dad. You see the ultimate unhealth of his perspective at that dinner scene whenever they're talking about, do you have any friends? And initially watching the scene, I thought that it was trying to say that Andrew's perspective is the right one. I actually kind of think that it's saying that Dad's perspective is the right one, but it doesn't totally pick sides.
Yeah.
Whenever he's talking about your friends are the ones who remember you, and that's what matters. And he's like, well, people talking about me at a dinner table in 100 years, it matters to me. We see how much Andrew is like, I don't care about being loved. What I care about is being respected, right? And so the more and more distance that he starts to get from his dad, that's when he hits this place where the storms come.
Hey, tell Fletcher I'm coming.
What's taking you so long, man? We're moving on stage right now.
I know, I got locked in my car. It's fine. I got locked in my car. I'm coming.
Left turn, 200 feet.
Are you driving, man?
No.
What the hell was that noise?
Okay, look, why don't you just tell Fletcher that I'm coming, you motherfucker!
He gets smashed into by that bus or whatever. And then Fletcher tells him, you're done.
Yeah.
That's when he hits his low point.
Yeah.
Right then is when his dad comes near again. They have the meeting with the lawyer, and we get these flashbacks to the home videos of him as a kid, his dad being like, that's my boy. They're kind of hiding away, but they're watching movies in his apartment, the Gushers, all that.
Yeah.
He comes close to his dad again, and that then enables him to go on and do the final thing, along with, he gets reassured backstage, all that. It shows that what he's leaning on matters, right? Same for us.
Yeah.
Whenever we think that we can go out and put ourselves through discipline and pressure makes diamonds, and whatever you want to say with it, like, go out there and put myself out there and I'm just going to do my thing. If we're not going from a place of being fully rooted in Jesus, abiding in the Spirit, it's going to bring the house to the ground.
Yeah.
Right. But I think this movie, I love, depending on your interpretation, but I love that it gives us that his dad is this essential ingredient to, if he's going to go on and do great things, he has to be able to lean on his dad.
Yeah. This movie is not what it is. It's not as great as it is without the dad relationship.
Yep.
Everything that he went through, totally worth it.
Yep.
2 Corinthians 4:17 says, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweigh them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal."
We could talk about this movie literally forever. Everything that Andrew does, his life, what he puts on his walls, what he is listening to,
where he lives, he moves into the practice room so that he can be there all the time.
Yep, where he lives, where he goes to school, who he dates, how he spends his time, the misery that he puts himself through, it's all centered around one thing. And the same is really true of us. Like, the reason why following Jesus is a lifestyle is because that is our primary goal. We want to move as close. It's not like there's all these things about me. Yeah, if the girlfriend was like, yeah, I play an instrument too. I played piano whenever I was like 6 years old. It's like, okay, then it's not really the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like one person has dedicated their life to this, and one person, it's just something that they say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good picture for us. I think this movie is inspiring in a lot of ways. It's hard to watch in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think it gives us a really strong picture of what it looks like to push through the discomfort that's necessary if you want to achieve something beyond what's expected.
Yeah. You know, following Jesus now, currently in this life and eternally, is ultimately so much more fulfilling and full of love and joy and peace and all these good things. The things that we push through for the sake of the gospel, because we have a God, again, who loves us so much and is so great that it's all worth it.
Yeah. I think we can take his yoke is easy and his burden is light to, unfortunately, to mean like what we were talking about earlier. If it's not easy, then it's wrong. You know what I mean? It's like the reason why why it's possible to do quote unquote hard things is because we have the peace that surpasses understanding.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
I did want to point out one other little observation at the end. Whenever he's giving the little pump up speech to the JVC band, and he's like talking about the audience. He's like, these people never forget. It echoed for me to the conversation in the hallway at the beginning whenever he says, the key is don't think about what anybody else is thinking.
Yeah. And in this moment, he's like, remember what they're thinking.
Right. He's hyping this up. And so it still feels like, even though he's trying to screw him over in that scene, like, it's still part of the process of like, all right, let's see who can actually ignore this.
The unsung hero in this movie is the vein in top of J.K. Simmons' head. That thing is putting in work.
The man can scream.
That and those black T-shirts, they're fighting tooth and nail just to not rip apart.
He's sweating in that. I can't think of another movie where the hero and the villain in the end both win.
Yeah.
Part of the tragedy for you.
Part of the tragedy for me is like, yeah, Fletcher is awful the whole time, never really changes or learns a lesson, and still wins.
Yeah.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
But even though he wins, it's like Andrew wins in spite of that. Like we know, I guess, depending on what you think about the dad thing, but we know that it's because he knows something Fletcher doesn't know.
Yeah. This is probably Miles Teller's best in my mind. This is his peak.
This or Maverick.
That's true. Top Gun Maverick was definitely like a bigger movie, but I think his performance is best in
this or Footloose.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
this is his break into I'm a respectable actor.
Yeah. Thank you, Damien Chazelle.
Yeah, well done. Let's get back to this jazz type movies.
Roll credits.
Don't forget to follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and on Instagram at The Credits Podcast. If you know someone who would love this episode, go ahead and shoot it to them in a text. If it doesn't brighten their day, it'll certainly brighten ours.